The College Football National Championship is the most prestigious award in college. Teams like this had a lot of future NFL talent, and it showed in the playoffs. Today, I will revisit each college football team that won a championship in the past 10 years. But before I get into this video, make sure you like and subscribe. We're on the verge of reaching 500 subscribers. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. The first team on our list is Ohio State University. In 2014, the Buckeyes were a team that was coming into their own, led by head coach Urban Meyer and quarterback JT Barrett. The team started 1-0 on the season, but in week 2, they would face one of their biggest challenges yet. Ohio State would face the Virginia Tech Hokies of the ACC. In this game, JT Barrett was benched and replaced by sophomore backup Cordell Jones. The Buckeyes would lose to the Hokies 35-21. This would be their first and only loss that year. They would go on to win 10 straight games and finish the regular season 11-1. After shutting down Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship, Ohio State would face a stacked Alabama team who was looking for their third national championship in 4 years. In this game, Alabama would get off to a hot start, scoring 2 touchdowns and holding Ohio State to only 2 field goals. The Buckeyes would pick up momentum in the second quarter and respond with 2 touchdowns of their own. The first half would end with Clemson Tide up by only 1 point. In the second half, Ohio State would take their first lead of the game. After that, it was difficult for Alabama to come back. The game would end 42-35, and Ohio State would play the Oregon Ducks in the national title game. The Ducks would put up a fight, but not enough to close the game, and Ohio State would become the national champions for the first time since 2002. Coming from a loss in the semifinals earlier in the year, Alabama was set to make a statement in 2015. They had returning players like Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, and Kenyon Drake. The Crimson Tide would start off 2-0. They would later face conference opponent Ole Miss in the third game. Alabama would lose to Ole Miss 37-43, but just like Ohio State, they would win out the rest of the season. When Alabama got to the playoffs, they would face Florida in the SEC Championship. Crimson Tide would win that game and shut out Michigan State in the next game. Alabama would face Deshaun Watson and the #1 Clemson Tigers in the national title game. This game would be a dogfight with both teams scoring on both ends, but a kickoff return touchdown in the fourth quarter put Alabama up by 2 possessions. Alabama would then gain momentum for the rest of the game and win the national championship. After the loss in the national championship last year, the Clemson Tigers were on a revenge tour. This team was led by future NFL quarterback Deshaun Watson and head coach Dabo Swinney. The Tigers would start off winning their first 9 games, beating 6 of their conference opponents. But in week 10, the Tigers would face off against an unranked Pitt team. Pitt would beat Clemson by 1 point, making it their only loss of the season. The Tigers would win the ACC championship and shut out Ohio State in the semifinal and find themselves in a rematch against Alabama in the national championship. This game would come down to the wire and it would be decided by 1 drive. The Tigers went down the field and receiver Hunter Renfrow scored the game-winning touchdown. Clemson will win their first title with Swinney. In 2017, we would start to see a rivalry grow in college football. Alabama and Clemson would become the 2 teams that were always going back and forth. Alabama brought back players like Jalen Hurts, Calvin Ridley, and Damian Harris. Alabama would pick up right where they left off and win their first 11 games of the season. But in week 12, they would face number 6 Auburn in their final game. The Crimson Tide would lose this game but earn their way into the college football playoff. They would win a rematch against Clemson in the Sugar Bowl and play against Georgia in the national title game. Georgia was making their first appearance with Kirby Smart as the head coach. The game would be pretty interesting. Alabama initially started quarterback Jalen Hurts, but after a bad first half performance, freshman quarterback Tua Tagovailoa would start over Hurts. The Crimson Tide will come back from down 10 and tie the game, which will eventually go into overtime. Georgia will be held to a field goal, giving Alabama the ball back on the final drive. Tua Tagovailoa connected with receiver Devontae Smith for the game-winning touchdown, making Alabama the 2017 national champions. The Clemson Tigers were a newly formed team in 2018. The arrival of quarterback Trevor Lawrence and running back Travis Etienne gave the Tigers a new structure to the program. The Tigers would go undefeated, pretty much dominating every opponent. This will continue into the playoff, beating both Pitt and Notre Dame. Clemson will rematch Alabama in the national championship. Clemson capitalized on every Alabama mistake, giving Clemson the advantage all game. Clemson would dominate in a 44-16 win. In 2019, LSU became one of the most stacked teams in college football history. With players like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow, LSU was destined for a title run. The Tigers went undefeated during the regular season and became first in the AP poll rankings. In the playoffs, they would beat teams like Georgia and Oklahoma. LSU would face a number 3 Clemson in the national title game. Clemson was a team looking to win back-to-back titles led by second-year quarterback Trevor Lawrence. The Tigers would get out to a lead early and it was pretty much staying that way the whole game. The high-power offense put up 42 points to Clemson's 25, and the Tigers would become the 2019 national champions. In 2020, the Crimson Tide was looking to regain the crown as one of the best in college football. After missing out for 2 years, the Crimson Tide had a newly acquired team With the additions of Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Heisman Trophy winner Devontae Smith, the Crimson Tide would dominate every team in the regular season. With their pass-heavy offense and intense defense, Alabama would not see themselves losing a game. In the playoffs, they would beat both Florida and Notre Dame. Ohio State would be their final opponent in the national championship. Ohio State was looking to recover their title from 2014. In this game, Alabama would show why they are the best team in college football. The Nick Saban-led team would put 52 points, while only holding Ohio State to 24. Saban won his 7th title, winning half of the BCS and CFP titles played. The University of Georgia will become a team to look out for in 2021. Led by head coach Kirby Smart, this team was becoming a staple in the college football landscape. Georgia will win out the regular season and face Bryce Young in Alabama in the SEC Championship. Georgia will fall short, but face them again in a rematch in the National Championship. At this point, Georgia had their number, dominating the championship 33-18. In 2022, Georgia would look to go back-to-back after having another undefeated season. In the playoff, they would encounter a tough Ohio State team in the semifinal. The game will come down to the wire, and it will be decided by a field goal from Ohio State, which will miss badly. In the national championship, Georgia will face the underdog TCU Horned Frogs, led by quarterback Max Duggan. This game will go in Georgia's favor. They will only hold TCU to 7 points while scoring 65, making it the biggest blowout in college football history. In 2023, the Michigan Wolverines were making noise in college football, but not all of them were for good reasons. During the season, Michigan was accused of going to other teams' sidelines and stealing their play calls. The guy behind it will later be identified as Connor Stallions. Head coach Jim Harbaugh would be suspended for a full season, and the Wolverines will be led by assistant coach Sharon Moore. Michigan will still go undefeated during the regular season, defeating rival Ohio State in the process. At this point, Coach Jim Harbaugh will return to the team during the playoffs. The Wolverines will beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl and face Washington in the national championship. The team would dominate Washington 34-13 and capture the crown as the national champions in 2023. With a 12-team format put into effect this year, it is interesting to see who will take the crown this year. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win a national title. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.